I was doing so good. Ah, I went 2 months without raging out or like spazzing out on anything, and I was so happy. I was happily playing Elden Ring, and I was looking forward to Moon Knight, and looking forward to the Obi-Wan series that's coming up. And I had a little bit of expectation of hope, a little bit of hope for the Morbius movie. That hope is gone. I feel as though Sony could have delayed this indefinitely, and I wouldn't have given a shit. In I'm so fucking mad. Like I'm really trying to like word this where I'm not shouting, but I feel as though I'm going to be shouting. So let's break this into three categories, shall we? First, I'm gonna talk directly to you, the fan, the comic book geek and connoisseur that you are, the dope ass individuals that I know you are who love this shit and are die hard about it. I'm gonna talk to you guys first. Then I'm gonna talk to Sony because I've got some motherfucking words for you guys. And then after I talk to Sony, I want to talk to the Spider-Men, Andrew, Toby, Holland. Y'all gotta hear this. Like, my opinion for what y'all should do. So let's talk about the fans. If you are like me, I'm 32. I lived through the late 80s, early 90s horrible comic book movie adaptations where comic book movies weren't treated with love and respect. They basically took a high build actor, slapped them into the movie, shoveled it out there, raked in the money, even though it got abysmal reviews, raked in the money, and then dumped the project. I grew up in that era. I remember Spawn, even though I love Spawn, but compared to what we have in the MCU right now, it's an old film. Dread, movies like those, which basically took these high named actors, put them out there, and then the movies were absolute fucking shit. That is what Morbius is. Morbius is a movie that is trying to make money off of other people's namesakes. It's using Jared Leto as more or less the attraction, the star. You're gonna come in and you're gonna enjoy this Leto movie. No, we came in and we did not enjoy this Leto movie. This movie's horrible. Then it's trying to piggyback off of what Marvel has done. Because if you've paid really close attention to the marketing over the last few years, because Morbius has been delayed for like 2 years, but if you've paid attention to the marketing for Morbius, a lot of the marketing basically is like in association with Marvel Studios. It's not standing on the Sony brand name. It's standing on the Marvel name, which comic book goers who only watch the movies but don't pay attention to things in the background see Marvel and go, oh, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were in the MCU. They were in Spider-Man No Way Home. This must mean that this is in connection to them. It's not in connection to them. It is Sony taking the Spider-Man product that they didn't want to sell back to fucking Marvel because they screwed up with Amazing Spider-Man so bad that they actually gave Marvel permission to have Tom Holland Spider-Man be in the MCU. It is Sony taking the goodwill and positivity that Marvel has built over the course of the MCU leading up to Endgame with the introduction of Spider-Man and trying to make a quick buck. This is the continuation of a bullshit scheme that tanked The Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you remember The Amazing Spider-Man 2, when they brought in The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield, so many different villains were being thrown in. So many Easter eggs were being dropped here and there. Ooh, Kraven the Hunter, Rhino, Vulture in the background, maybe a little bit of a symbiote. All that shit was in Amazing Spider-Man 2, along with Electro, the Green Goblin, all this stuff, because they wanted to create a Sinister Six. This is part 2 of that. That dream never died. That dream was essentially put on a shelf. And they are relying on us, the comic book fans, who enjoy these movies and love these characters. They are relying on us to shell out that money. to give them that money for a piss poor product and to keep on giving that money for a piss poor. No, don't fucking do it. If you're going to spend your money on anything, go watch Sonic 2. The first Sonic movie was fun. The second one looks like it's going to be dope as shit. There are other movies that are currently out. Save your $20. Go to In-N-Out Burger. Go get some sushi. Go to a pool hall. Go bowl. Buy a I'm not even a microtransaction fan, but go and buy a fucking microtransaction on your favorite video game. Do not give Sony money for this product. It's horrible. Save your money. Please. Go and do anything else. I would rather watch this Spider-Verse venture burn to the ground now. I would rather watch it burn to the ground now. I would rather watch the makings of the Sinister Six burn to the ground now than for Sony to bring the Sinister Six together, not do them justice, fuck up Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man even more, just so that they can make a quick buck. They don't give a shit about these characters. They don't. And they don't understand these characters. And Daniel Espinosa, the guy who's directing this, the one good movie he did was Safe House. And that movie made money off of the back of Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds. The rest of his other movies, nobody gives a shit. Except for Life. He directed Life and Life was good. I don't know what happened there. Everyone gets one. That was his one. Life was dope. But the rest of his movies, mediocre. This movie is mediocre. And you should save your money for something else. You should vote with your wallet. This is what I always tell people. When you think somebody is shilling you, vote with your wallet. Because what it does is, it upsets all their fucking plans. That is me talking directly to you, the fan. Please, please, if there's anything you do this weekend, do not go and see Morbius. Go and see something else. I only saw it because somebody gave me a free ticket. That's the only reason I saw it. I saw it because it was free. And I was so mad, and I knew I was going to be mad going in, that I brought my own bottle of water from home. That's all I drank. I didn't even buy anything at the theater. The theater got my wrath as well. Typically, when I go there, I buy like a large popcorn, a large soda, maybe some hot dogs. I'm chilling. Nope. I bought a bottle of water. Sat through the whole thing with a bottle of water. Didn't give a fuck. I barely remember most of this movie because it's mediocre. And I'll tell you right now, if you're somebody like me who can figure out plots as the movie progresses, you'll figure this out. You'll figure out where everything is going to go in about 10-15 minutes. You know the entire plot of the movie. Across the board, 100%. But this is the part that's for the fans. Now we're moving on to Sony. Oh, you motherfuckers. Oh, you motherfuckers. Oh, boy. Oh, I feel like Denzel in Training Day. I was like, oh, you bitches. You think you do this shit to me? Oh, my God. If you're a fan, and I know what you were hoping for. You were hoping for that rabid fandom. Which I am. DC, Marvel, I don't give a shit. If it's a great movie, I'll go see it. The Batman that just came out, saw it 3 times. Spider-Man No Way Home, saw it 4 times. Avengers Endgame, saw that like 5-6 times. Like, if your movie is good, I'll give you the money. Your movie ain't good. Your movie ain't good at all. Pacing issues, right off the bat. Choppy. Like, the story progresses at such a rapid pace and then is constantly throwing shit at you on a constant basis, like information out the ass. Like, this feels like an early 90s comic book movie where it's towing the line between being a movie and being a video game. And I'll give it to Jeremy Jahns. Like, if you don't watch Jeremy Jahns' reviews, they're dope as shit. But he said something in his review that really resonated with me, which is a lot of the motions that the character does are repeat motions. And then once you see it, you don't lose it. Like, for instance, the blood bag thing. That is a thing. I thought Jeremy Jahns was bullshitting until I actually sat down and watched the movie. That is an actual thing. Where every single time he goes to like drink a blood bag, he does the exact same motion. Why? You have Jared Leto. He's like the perfect fucking method actor. Unleash him. You've seen how good Deadpool has done. Deadpool has done absolutely fantastically as an R-rated comic book film. What is going on here? It's almost as if you made an R-rated movie and then you just took all the blood out and all the R-rated stuff out, and then you chopped out maybe around 40 minutes of dialogue, because this movie definitely feels as though it can be longer. What's going on? What was the direction that you're going in? Is this the quality we can expect from the rest of the Spider-Verse movies? Because I'm telling you right now, you're trying to create this interconnected web where you're saying all of these movies are going to be connected and we're going to have a Spider-Man going forward. But if this is how the movies going forward are going to be, I don't give a shit. And if you're a fan, you shouldn't give a shit either. Because why should I care? You're making a Madame Web movie? Why? Because now that I've actually seen Morbius, I'm actually sitting down and I'm wondering, why are you using these characters? Why Morbius? To be quite honest, why not just reboot everything with a Spider-Verse? You know how people are pretty much rabid for a Miles Morales. Why don't you just do a Miles Morales? You could have had Miles Morales in live action, and you could have Into the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales as a cartoon. Why not just reboot? Start from the beginning. Hey, this is Sony. This is our new Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Or shit, if you want to be spicy, Miguel O'Hara. You could use him. You want to be extra spicy? Spider-Gwen. But it's the idea that you're afraid. And I know you're afraid. Because you're afraid that if you step away from the Marvel shadow, because you're living in the Marvel shadow, you're afraid if you step away from the Marvel shadow and you be bold, and you step away and you do something different, and you introduce other characters that aren't connected to the MCU, that you're gonna fail. Well, congratulations. You tried to stay in the Marvel shadow, you tried to ride on the Marvel clout, and you fucked up. Because this movie ain't good. You may as well have just started from scratch. And I have no idea why you started with Jared Leto, because there are so many better Spider-Man villains that you could have pulled from. Across the board, 100%. Why you chose to introduce Michael Keaton's Vulture, I have no clue. The explanation that you gave about Michael Keaton's Vulture makes no fucking sense. Because like I said, you're trying to ride on the Marvel coattail. Stop! Marvel's doing their own thing over here. You guys were doing your own thing in the early 2000s. You're the company that gave us Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2. You're the company that gave us Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. But for what? 5 Spider-Man movies that you gave us, 3 of them were good. You have the rap. Use it. Stop riding the Marvel coattail. You don't need to be in association with Marvel Studios. No, you're Sony. Act like Sony. Act like the Sony who did Spider-Man 1 and 2. But here's the thing. When you gave us Spider-Man 1 and 2, you didn't give a shit. Because if you go back and you watch Spider-Man 1 and 2, Sam Raimi basically had major oversight. You guys got greedy. You saw all the money Spider-Man was making, and you decided to jump in there and try and control shit for Spider-Man 3 by introducing all these bullshit characters when Sam Raimi also wanted to use the Vulture. And look where it got you. You lost the faith of the fans. Then Amazing Spider-Man came out and Andrew Garfield charmed us. And then you tried to do the same shit again with Amazing Spider-Man 2. And you lost the faith of the fans. And here we are again, years later, and you put out Morbius after you tried to pull that bullshit with Tom Holland leading into Avengers Endgame, like, oh, I don't know whether or not Tom Holland will be coming back to be Spider-Man in Avengers Endgame. And you've lost the faith of the fans. Be bold. Stop riding coattails. Stop fucking up. Get people in the driver's seat who actually respect the characters. Have them make the movies. I'd be amazed if you find a fucking director who's a Morbius fan, because he is such a nebulous character in and of itself that it makes no sense for, I don't even know why they focused on a Morbius movie, to be quite honest. Venom, I had beef with Venom when you decided to make it so that Venom never ran into Spider-Man. Because the entire idea around Venom was the first human that he bonded with, Peter Parker. depending on the comic book retcon, sometimes it's Deadpool, but for the most part, it's Peter Parker. Then, Peter Parker's violent split from Venom led to an eternal hate for Spider-Man. You're trying to shoehorn in this hate with that post-credit scene at the end of Endgame. No Way Home. You know what I'm talking about. For what reason? Why? Why would Venom care? It's like, you spent the last 2 movies making him a good guy. All of a sudden, he doesn't like Peter Parker, and he's a fucking villain. Ooh, that's a bad guy. Why? You're just seeing a picture of him. Do your own thing. Because this whole riding the Marvel coattail shit, it is not working for you. It is horrible. Across the board horrible. And I have no idea what the fuck your plan is. None. Because, like, what? The next movie you got coming out is Kraven the Hunter? Why? Is Kraven fighting Spider-Man? No. It's a Kraven origin story. Who gives a fuck? I don't care about a Kraven origin story. The very first time Kraven the Hunter should show up is to hunt Spider-Man. And then throughout the movie, you can tell Kraven's story. Like, you can even do Kraven's Last Hunt. Super easy. 2-hour, 30-minute movie. Spider-Man's doing his thing. He does something. He becomes like an international criminal. Kraven sees him. He sees Spider-Man as like the ultimate hunt. The best hunt. The peak of his existence. And then with this, he is done. He goes off. He hunts Spider-Man. He wins. He kills himself. Spider-Man doesn't die and he comes back. It's not that hard to tell that story. It's been done multiple times in comic books. But for whatever reason, you refuse to take comic book source material and apply it to the screen with directors that actually fucking like the material. I just want this shit to be good. Like, holy fuck. Just make it good. That's all I'm asking for. Like, if you make something good across the board, I'll support you. But if you don't make it good, I will fucking butcher you for 17 minutes. Oh my god. And finally, to our Spider-Man, because I'm getting thirsty. To our Spider-Man, don't associate yourselves with this. Don't. For Tom Holland, if this is your exit as Spider-Man, thank you. You've given me 3 of... Damn, top 5? I'd say top 5. Yeah, I'd say top 5. You've given me 3 of my top 5 favorite Spider-Man movies. My favorite Spider-Man movie will always be Spider-Man 2. Sorry, it's beautiful. As a child, I've probably watched Spider-Man 2 1,000 times. Then right below it, No Way Home. Across the board, 100%. And then I would probably do Far From Home, Homecoming, and then I do Amazing Spider-Man, the very first one. All those, dope as hell. Love them. And if you decide to bow out because you don't want to be tied to this shit, I 100% understand. I will not hold it against you. You gave me a Spider-Man trilogy. I watched you go from Iron Lad all the way to the Spider-Man that I know from the comic books, and I love it. And I love you for it. Tobey Maguire, dude, your legacy is cemented. You don't need to come back. I love the fact that you came back to wrap things up in Spider-Man No Way Home. It was great seeing you again, because the last time I saw you, I was like 10. It was fantastic seeing you again. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. You don't need to come back. Andrew Garfield, don't let them shit on your legacy. Don't come back. Don't do it at all. If what I'm hearing is true, and they plan on making you the Spider-Man that exists in the Venom universe, don't come back. Don't come back. I would say let somebody else come in and be that Spider-Man. I wouldn't do it to myself. I wouldn't do it to myself at all. Because they obviously do not care about the Spider-Man license. What they care about is making money off of the Spider-Man license. And I think they fail to realize that the reason why Marvel is so successful at what they do is because they actually care and put out good products. And because they put out good products, the fans flock to them and throw money at them. That is why Marvel is successful. But if Marvel approached the entire MCU movie business model the way in which Sony did, the MCU would have never made it past Iron Man 2. And that's true. Because the fans can feel when you put love and passion into the project. They can feel when the people aren't just there to cut a check. when you put in the work to make the project good, when you understand the source material and adapting it to the big screen. You don't give a fuck about that. They don't. And if I was a Spider-Man, I wouldn't come back. That's just me. If I was Tom Holland, I'd retire. I'd be like, yep, that was my last role of Spider-Man. Peace out. If I was Tobey Maguire, I'm not coming back. I had a great send-off at the end of Spider-Man No Way Home. I did what I needed to do. Goodbye. If I was Andrew Garfield, I wouldn't come back. I don't need a third movie. My third movie is No Way Home. It redeemed my character, and I realized that the fans actually love me, and I'm not going to shit on my legacy. Goodbye. Because that's what all this is. Because Morbius is just a piece of a larger problem that I see on the horizon, which is what Sony is doing. So don't go see this movie. Don't go see it at all. Spend your money on something else. Go enjoy something else. Whatever it is that you like to do, go and do it. Drop that $20 on that. Don't drop it on this. Don't. Until they start giving a shit about their product. Don't put no money in this. Like I said, I only went because it was free. Don't put no money in this at all. None whatsoever. Because they do not give a shit. So why should you? But yeah, that's the angry rant. That's the review. Don't waste money on this fucking movie. Go and see something else. Go and enjoy something else. Waste your time on something else. Because Sony doesn't give a shit about us. So we shouldn't give a shit about the products that they're putting out. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace.